Next day, in the shop again. It's like I don't know, 6 o'clock at night. It's getting a little cold in here, but I think we got a couple hours of a little like 50-degree shop time. So we're gonna keep going on this. I think yesterday I kind of just took a little bit of the paint off the low spots, kind of get an idea. But we're going to slowly pull away at this. Now the trick here is that this is pushed in a little bit, which means this is all wrinkled because there's not enough space between here and here to have that much material. So what really needs to happen is this needs to be pulled toward the rear as we walk the rest of this out. Now, some shops, they'll do this with like a clamp that then pulls on this with like a chain and a hydraulic ram. Another way we could do it is like a slide hammer and some vice grips on this pinch weld, but I don't have a slide hammer here, and so I may need to get one. But what I do want to do is just pull a little bit everywhere and then see if I can get the whole panel to come out, and then maybe we'll just work this. Well, what we can do is, because this is rusty and terrible, is cut this out and then kind of just keep pushing the body that way. It's not very much, man. It's like such a slight amount, and so I'm hoping that if we just start pulling on this, we can get it good enough that it's not going to be an eyesore. Honestly, it's not too bad, and that the tail light fits good. If we get to that point, then I think we'll be solid. So I'm gonna just set up the camera and get going on that a little bit. First, I'll just clean off some of the paint. I've got my spot stud welder. I've only used this a couple times, but it works pretty good. So yeah, we'll just, this gun right here spot welds these studs to the body, and then we just kind of massage it outward. So let's get started. Gonna use a respirator because I don't want to breathe all this junk in. Okay, so it's been a while since I used this, and so I kind of have to remember how long to hold the trigger and stuff, but let's give it a whirl. First spot we want to pull on, right about there. Just like that. This is like, Japanese metal is like a little thinner than, like, say, like a 60s American made car, and so you have to be real careful with this stuff. But I didn't clean enough paint off, and so the grounding piece is actually this ring, and so if you didn't, there's nowhere for it to hit, so I'll have to go and clean that part up. Okay, this is going to be very time consuming, because if you just start hitting it like crazy, you're just going to pull the stud out of the sheet metal. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and just add some studs to this one, because you can see it flexing, but we need to start at the edges and work our way in. If we just pull in the middle, it's just going to act like a drum and just continue to pop in. So, and like I said, that needs to go that way, and so okay, so I've added a bunch of studs. I probably should put one right here and then a couple more here, but we're just gonna keep kind of pulling on it. In an ideal world, I mean, there's like a million ways to do this, right? This isn't exactly the way. This dent is pretty extreme for this strategy, but I have an acetylene torch, but I'm actually out of oxygen, and so can't really use it. But I do have a MAP torch. This metal's thin enough, it might help, but I'm kind of worried about like overworking the metal or getting it hot. I'm also not a professional at this, so I think I'll just heat it up with the torch a little bit, and we'll just keep massaging it out. Like I said, if we can get it good enough to put a tail light in it and kind of hide the fact that it's been crunched, I'm totally cool with that. But yeah, let's get started. Okay, so as I was pulling on this, I noticed that the metal is, because of this crease here, the metal is pulling out but then going in. And so my idea was to start on the outside and work my way in. That way it loses like the bass drum effect. But I realized that this is actually the problem, and so I'm gonna pull down on this and kind of, hopefully it starts pulling some of this metal, but this is pretty thin down here because it probably has a little bit of rust. And so wish me luck. But man, if I could just find a quarter, that would be sweet, because this really is the worst one. But oh well, cars are getting harder to come by, so just got to do what we can to fix this one. Okay, so I quickly, I decided we need something more structural to pull on. Like, these little tabs aren't meant for like the real creased metal, because you can't pull on them hard enough to get it going. They really what we need is something we can really pull on. I wish we could get behind it, but we can't. So as we're pulling on these studs, the sheet metal is too thin and it's just popping them out. And so I tried to just kind of on the outside work my way in, but this is just, it's too creased, and I really need to pull out on this and then get something I can weld weld something stronger to it that I can get more surface area. And so I've got this tab out of like my fabrication random bin. And so my idea is to weld this to the places that I need to pull much harder. And that's going to allow me to get this out. And then we can use these studs to massage the actual body. And so what I did was I ran to Harbor Freight and got a slide hammer, but these slide hammers include this, which actually allows you to thread into the back of a set of vice grips. And then you can clamp the vice grips to whatever it is you want to pull on, and then you thread this end into the slide hammer. So that's what I'm going to do. That's better. I don't want to let go of this because it'll bend the body worse. Need more of these tabs. So we also want to pull this back. I'm just going to stick this on the pinch weld and see if I can get that to come this way. That didn't move much. So, pull this one down. What I need is like 3 more of those tabs. Let's see if I can find another one. So I have these ones. They're a little different. I usually use these to mount like headlights and stuff. I'll bend it and then weld a bar to it, or like a 1/4-inch rod, and then I'll be able to put a bolt to something. But right now they're gonna fix these bent pieces. So probably put one right about, it's hard to tell, man. Okay, so right here. We're gonna kind of jump around from this one to that one, from this one to that one, that one. If that made any sense at all. It made sense in my head. Okay. think it's starting to crack though, so yeah. It's starting to crack, so, but it came out good. Came out like pretty far. Switch it to this top one, and then I'll probably use the little guy, pull on some of the studs a little bit. Ooh, that's pretty good. All right, now we're gonna switch to the smaller one and see if we can just kind of pull on these a little. The little holes, they're not a big deal. They just, I don't want to weld, like I don't mind welding up 10, but if I don't want to weld up like 60. So I'm gonna be a little more gentle with the little studs. But I might put some studs across this seam and see if I can't get that to come out while I pull on this guy and that guy. I think I'm deciding that it's actually best to not hold the trigger too long. Then it spot welds it nice, and instead of fatigue the metal around it. I think that needs a plate. Okay, let's go back to this guy. Okay, let's take this one off and weld it down lower. Probably just need to get some more tabs. Woo! That's a lot better. Make any more holes. These just don't hold as tight. Metal's too thin. More random tabs. We'll break this one off. I'm gonna weld this right there and pull right on the crease. Okay, so I'm running out of time where I can make noise. And so I'm gonna call it, but I kind of want to show you what my plan is for tomorrow. I'll be able to do this for a couple hours tomorrow, but you can tell that this crease that was in here is gone. And it started to, this was poking out a lot and then creased in here. And that's actually, pulling this out made that much smaller, and so that's good. But what you can tell that this headlight is pushed inward and down. You can kind of tell if I put the camera here. But so my plan for tomorrow is to probably weld a tab here on this, or honestly, I probably can get to that part from the inside, but that needs to be hit out. If I can get that out, and I can get another tab here and here, I should be able to pull on that and then kind of just massage this piece out. Remember, we're not super concerned about this down here, especially because it's rusted and terrible. We actually might end up cutting it out and just plating it, but this corner right here is what's most important. And so if we can just massage it to a point where I can get a little bit of filler on it, it should be good. But I really want this. I mean, this doesn't matter either, but I'd feel better if it was straight. So we're kind of just learning as we go. So, but so far so good. So yeah, that concludes today. I'm just gonna sweep up my mess and go inside because it's getting cold. Thanks, guys.